माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदना ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदना ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय गो प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि गो एवं विष्णुपाद परमहंस विराज का जरा स्तोत्र श्रीमद श्री भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय एवं विष्णुपाद परमहंस विराज का जरा स्तोत्र श्रीमद श्रीमद सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय नमाचार्य हरदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से गो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरु गोवर्धन की जय ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय श्री क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय गंगामय यमुनामय की जय भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय समवेत भक्ति बंधु की जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय Daigo Pramanandi, Hari Bo. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. 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 All glories, all glories, all glories. All glories, Shri Guru and Gauranga, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaye Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namo. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Vishesha Sunyavad Pachach Destarine. Thank you very much for joining. We are reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, verse number 9. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Bhakti Pradineshti Hari Om Tat Sat. Reading from chapter 12, Pure Devotions or Devotion Service, verse number 9. No, verse number 8. 8, 9 should be reading. Very important verses. Mayi eva mana adatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya nivashisyasi mayi eva ata urdhvam na samshaya. Mayi eva mana adatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya Nivasishyasi mayeva ata urdhvam na samshaya. How many times you see the Mayi? First line, second line, third line. Mayi, how many times? 3 times Lord is repeating. So clearly, explicitly stating, stressing the importance of specifically Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. Mayeva mana adatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya nivasishyasi mayeva ata urdhvam na samshaya. Mayi, upon me, eva, certainly, mana, mind, adatsva, fix, Mayi, upon me, buddhim, intelligence, niveshaya, apply, nivasishyasi, you will live, Mayi, in me, eva, certainly, ata urdhvam, thereafter, na, never, samsaya, doubt. Translation by doing this, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus, you will live in me always without a doubt. Repeat. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus, you will live in me always without a doubt. Verse number 9. अत चित्तं समादातुं न शक्नोषि मयि स्थिरम् अभ्यासयोगेन ततो माम् इच्छाप्तुं धनञ्जय अत चित्तं समादातुं न शक्नोषि मयि स्थिरम् अभ्यासयोगेन ततो माम् इच्छाप्तुं धनञ्जय अत चित्तं समादातुं न शक्नोषि मयि स्थिरम् अभ्यासयोगेन ततो माम् इच्छाप्तुं धनञ्जय अत चित्तं समादातुं न शक्नोषि मयि स्थिरम् अभ्यासयोगेन ततो माम् इच्छाप्तुं धनञ्जय. What would Ata? If therefore Chittam, mind, Samadhatum, to fix, no, not, Shaknosi, you are able, Mayi, upon me, Stiram, steadily, Abhyasa Yogena, by the practice of devotion service, Tata, then, Ma, me, Icha, desire, Aptum, to get, Dhananjaya, O winner of wealth, Arjuna. Translation by Prabhupada. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. Repeat. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. Try to understand these verses. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणम् परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यईश्वरम् वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो अनंत वैष्णव की जय। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्री चैतन्य मनोविष्टम स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। श्री रूप गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर भक्त की जय। So we're discussing here chapter 12, most important chapter, devotion service or pure devotion service, verse number 8 and 9. This is in the second section, three sections. The first section is the impersonalist, personalist, or bhakti is superior over impersonalism. That was the first section. And then the second section, starting from today's verse, 8th verse, is various forms of levels of bhakti, various levels of bhakti, different types of bhakti has been described. And this from verse number 8 all the way till 12. And then 13 to 20, Lord Krishna is describing the qualities or characteristics of the devotee which Lord likes. So, Bhaktas, in this way, this chapter is divided. Now, in the previous chapter, Arjuna is asking this question from the previous chapter: Mat karma kran, mat paramo, mat bhakta sangavad nirvaira sarva bhutesh yasya mameti pandava. So that was the conclusion of the previous chapter 1155. After Lord Krishna showed the impersonal universal form, then four-handed form of Lord Narayana, then he showed the original two-handed form. That's what Lord Arjuna was desirous to see finally, is proving the whole world how everything is coming, the Brahman effulgence, the impersonal form, Virat root form, coming from the Supreme Lord, and also Super Soul, Paramatma form is also coming from Supreme Lord, and also it is origin is the two-handed Shyam Sundar Krishna form. That's what is being shown. Now, practically, he wants to see the whole world. He wants to um, confirm his position itself, Arjuna's position, because he was attached two-handed form. He wants to make sure so that actually what is the topmost, what is the highest, whether his position is secure, whether he is following the right thing or wrong thing. So he wants to show, because in this world many people think that they take the 11th chapter as the topmost. They put that as the president, the highest, the topmost, Viswarup Sandarshan, but that's not the case. That's not the essence of the 11th chapter. So, actually, last verses you can clearly see. Otherwise, why would he show from that? He could have shown from the beginning with two-handed form to four-handed form to then the universal form, if that was the original. So, but it's the opposite way. So that we have to understand. So in that way, first section, that's how it starts. Arjuna Vasa evam satata yuktaya bhaktastam paripadi chapyakshram abhyaktam parivaste. So avyakta, unmanifested, or akshara, kshara and akshara. Akshara means deteriorating. Akshara means which is not deteriorating, which is the supreme absolute truth. So that impersonal form is the first one. Whether that is best or Satvayukta Bhaktastam Paripaste, which is personal form, which one is better? And then Arjuna, Lord Krishna already answered, as it is so much, it is very difficult to perform this impersonal worship because he can see him, he can feel him, he can touch him, how you are going to remember him, how you are going to meditate on him, how you are going to develop attachment in him. It's not possible. It is extremely difficult to follow that kind of worship. So impersonal worship is so difficult. Everywhere Lord is pervaded. Yes, of course He is pervaded. Everywhere Lord is there. Every atom is there. The universes are floating. The oceans are floating. Cities, everything is floating by His energy. Sun is coming. Everybody is doing their duties out of fear of the Lord. Sun, moon, everyone included. So that is true. But the origin is the personal form of the Lord. That's what has been described. But it's very difficult to meditate or develop attachment on this particular form, especially in Kali Yuga. It's even more extremely difficult. Klesho adhikadaras tesham avyaktas avyaktahi gadar dukam deho. So as we discussed in the morning also, if somebody goes to father and mother says you are blind, you are deaf, anybody like no one will like it. No mother father like that. So that's what is happening. You are going to the Supreme Lord and you are telling that you are Nirakar, you don't have any form, you don't have eyes, you don't have ears, you don't have legs, you cannot walk, you don't dance, so all these things then Lord doesn't like it. That's not because that's not the fact. So he does have eyes. It's not material. Nirakar means he doesn't have material. He is Nirgun. Saguna Brahman, Nirguna Man, Nirguna means he doesn't have material quality. He doesn't have material hand, material eyes, material like we see Lord Jagannath, big eyes, is most compassionate. So that's why his eyes are so big. He's compassionately looking over on everybody. So Lord Balram is helping, bringing the conditioned souls to Lord Jagannath, and Lord Jagannath is giving his mercy. That's how Krishna Balram is always there, showering their causeless mercy. So that's why the personal form must be worshipped. Now Lord Krishna is coming to this different grades, different types of bhakti. So since he has said already in the last verse, he has mentioned Yastu Sarvani Karmani. Um, what is that? I forget the verse. I get always mixed up. My Sanyasya Adhyatma, but that's not the verse. Astu Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Adhyatma. No, keep forgetting that. मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परा अनन्येनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्तः उपासते then तेषाम् अहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्यु संसार सागरात् भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ मया वेशित्यसम्. So he is telling that one who is always meditating. So yastu sarvani karmani is giving up all his activities. My sanyasya, giving up all activities and offering it to him. Mat para. We said not swarga para, not kamya para, not like that. There is another word also is used. Bhoga samsparsha and Brahma samsparsha. Bhoga samsparsha means one who is trying to utilize his senses, his eyes, his ears, his nose, his touch, his tongue in relation for his enjoyment. He wants to taste it, he wants to see it. That is called Bhoga samsparsha. Samsparsha means sparsha. You are feeling the pleasure with our senses for our own enjoyment. That is called Bhoga samsparsha. Brahma samsparsha, there is a verse in 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna speaks this Bhoga Brahma samsparsha. Brahma samsparsha means he is utilizing, he is seeing everything in relation as a servant of God is seeing in relation with Krishna. How to give the enjoyment to Krishna, his senses, his body, his intelligence, everything in the service of Krishna. That is called Brahma Samsparsha. Bhoga Samsparsha means it is opposite, using for our own self. So here also, same thing Krishna is telling in the last verse, after explaining that it's so difficult to do the impersonal worship. Yes, to Sarvani Karman, all activity they will give up, but they don't reject. That is the impersonalist. This is Neti Neti are there. Brahma Satya Jagam Nitya. Eka Brahma Dvitiya Nasti. That is there. But they accept that Brahma Satya Jagam, Jagam Nitya. This material world is false. If it is coming from the Lord, why is it false? So can you produce anything? No, you can't produce anything. You can only produce taking Lord's elements. So how is it false? You don't utilize. And if it is false, then why are you utilizing? Why are you eating? Why are you using everything? If it is false, your stomach is not getting full when you are eating, then how is it false? If it is false, means it cannot be full. So everything is working. That means it is true. It is only temporary. That has to be understood. But that's how they They work Brahma Satya, Jagam Mithya. Brahma is only the truth. They reject everything. Up to they take sannyas, and that is what then they call themselves as God, as Narayana. That is one aspect of it. So either Mayavadi, the slight difference is there. Brahmavadi, but they are also Brahmavadi also a similar way. Brahma Satya Jagam Mithya still for them also the same thing. But that's why here they reject. Yes, Sarvani Karmani, my sannyas Matparam, they reject but offer everything to the pleasure of the Lord. That is what it is. It's a difference of the consciousness. Differences of the consciousness, how they utilize, how they see everything in relation with the Lord, how they utilize it in relation with the Lord. That is the difference. My sannasya matpara ananyanaiva yogena, without deviation. Anya, ananya means one pointed. Everything is for the Lord and Lord's representative. Ananyanaiva yogena, mam dhyayanta, and they are meditating. What can I do? What can I do? How can I do? Everything in relation with Krishna only they are meditating. Mam dhyayantam. Then what will happen? Why should I do this? Why should I do this? Then Krishna is telling them, no, I will deliver quickly. For those who are doing this, I will very quickly, very quickly. Yes, Tesham aham samuddattam nitya samsara bhavami nachirat partha. Chirat means it takes long time. Na means it is very quick. Nachirat partha maya vesam, because his intensity is there. His intensity is so much avesh. There's so much avesh is there in him that I want to do something for the Lord. I want to do something. So that because of that inclination, endeavor, then Lord also wants to respect. Lord wants to give him all the perfections and give him the mercy. So that's why our sampradaya is called Krupa Sampradaya. We depend not so much about, yes, we do endeavor, but we depend on the mercy of the Lord and his representative. So more so than any other sampradaya. We grab onto the lotus feet of Guru and Gauranga. So that is our business, everyday's business. While waking up, while sleeping, throughout the day, 3 times a day. So it's always thinking and praying to Lord and Lord's representative. So that is what has ended. Now is coming to now the actual personal worship of the Lord. First is explaining in the first verse, Lord Krishna is giving. In these three categories are there. First category in the 8th verse. Now Lord Krishna is going to speak bhakti in three verses. 8, 9, 10. And then 11, 12 is going back to the first 6 chapters. Because first 6 chapters are talking in essence Nishkama Karma Yoga. Activity without attached results. Gradually, karma is there, but gradually the 6 chapters essence, first 6 chapters essence is coming to the at least Nishkama Karma Yoga platform. Last 6 chapters essence is Gnana Yoga platform. But the middle 6 chapters specifically predominantly how to perform bhakti. Karma Mishra Bhakti, Gnana Mishra Bhakti, Yoga Mishra Bhakti, but coming to pure devotion service. So that's the first verse is speaking about Raganuga Bhakti, spontaneous devotion. Spontaneous devotion. That's why he mentioned 3 times. He mentioned Mayeva Mana Adatswa, May Buddhim Niveshe. Nivashasya Mayeva Atavurdhana Samsaya. There is no doubt. Why? Because his mind is engaged in thinking of the Lord. Mayeva Mana Adatswa. Mana means mind. Of me, Krishna only, not any other form, exclusively, specifically to especially those who are very much inclined to worship of Lord Krishna exclusively. Ananya Bhakti, Kevala Bhakti, Aikantika Bhakti, Suddha Bhakti, Prema Bhakti. All these terms are used for that only. One person. One person. Because it becomes easy. It becomes easy. You have hundreds of forms, it becomes easy. Yes, all forms of Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, Lord Rama, you can worship, no problem. But ultimately, at some because it becomes much easier. One exclusively you are devoted to, you are really meditating on and trying to worship the Lord in that personal particular form. So, my eva mana adatswa, my buddhim, mind is used, and then second line is telling the intelligence is also. That's why it is called our Bhaktivinoda Thakur, or Acharya Viswanath Chakravarti Thakur, all Acharyas explaining. There is a commentary by Bhaktivinoda Thakur repeating, quoting on top of Viswanath, no, Viswanath Chakravarti Thakur, I think, or Sanatana Goswami's Tika. Digdarshini, so on that is giving Rasika Ranjana. And so on Pallav Vidyabhushan has written Gita Bhushan. Then Viswanath Chakravarti Thakur also has written. So these are the three prominent ones. Baldev Vidya Bhushan's most of the purports of Bhagavad Gita by Srila Prabhupada has taken mainly from Baladev Vidya Bhushan, Gita Bhushan. He dedicates in the introduction, you'll see that Prabhupada is dedicating this Bhagavad Gita to Baladev Vidya Bhushan, who has written Govinda Vashi, is a disciple of Viswanath Chakravarti Thakur. So there it is mentioned that this mind and intelligence being used in the service of the Lord, thinking, two aspects are mentioned, smarana and manana. In general, eh, outside the devotions or outside the process of bhakti, other yogas, they have these three aspects, sravana, manana, niridhyasana. In general, they have this. The same thing is automatically uh, result of these three limbs of Sravana, Manana, Niridhyasana. Basically, you are using your the body, senses, ears, and other, and then internal. This is gross body, and then you have internal, the subtle body, which is mind, intelligence, ego. So the mind is used. Manana means mind is used, and also intelligence when it's Manana. And then the next one is the Niridhyasana. Then more contemplation, more it goes deeper. The soul, it comes to the touch of the soul. So in this case, it is Raganoga Bhakti, spontaneous devotion, because immediately his mind is always thinking of the Lord. And his intelligence also, so that means Smarana, it is mentioned Smaranatmika, Mananatmika. This eighth verse is talking about specifically about Smaranatmika and Mananatmika. How will you come there? We will try to understand, we will try to explain. Lord Krishna directly speaking to Uddhava on this point, how to come. There are different acharyas explaining in different places, but we will directly see from Lord Krishna explaining to Uddhava on this Smaranatmika and Mananatmika. This is spontaneous devotion. The gopis are in this spontaneous devotion. So they don't need to practice any bhakti yoga. They are already in devotion. They are spontaneously they are devotees. The cohort boys, the Nanda and Yashoda, they are already in the spontaneous devotion. That is the first stage. Mayeva manadatso, my buddhim nivasis stage. What will happen? Why should I do this? Automatically they will come to me. They will be in me. They will be always thinking they will attain me. Nivasis stage, Maya, they will live in me. They will reside in me. Because they are constantly thinking of me. The Lord is also in them. Lord is also inspiring them. Lord is also thinking of them. So both ways, reciprocation. And then Atavurdha na samsaya. They will for sure, guaranteed, they will attain. Then Prabhupada is explaining the last purport. Last paragraph is very important. Prabhupada is explaining that one must be trained under the guidance of the spiritual master, bona fide spiritual master. Then one can actually attain Krishna. So it is a very important point Lord is making, because the mind is flowing through various things, unwanted garbage also. That flow, those, when it is mind is flowing, that has to be stopped. This garbage has to be stopped by a dam. So how will we stop unless we are guided, we are receiving the mercy of the Lord, and then we'll look at Lord Krishna's instruction. But in this verse, very important, ninth verse especially. Here also Lord is telling that, Prabhupada is telling that spontaneous devotion means all the way from chanting, hearing, so remembering, so all that. So the next verse, where he is talking, next verse, the Smaranatmika stage, and then the next verse is been described as Atha Chittam Samadhatum Na Supnoji Mahistram, is gradually. If you cannot spontaneously remember Krishna, we cannot spontaneously think of Krishna. The mind and intelligence both require smarana, manana. To remember, to contemplate, to meditate, the mind and intelligence both has to be there. Intelligence has to be sharpened. Then the mind will remember. So mind and both has to work hand in hand. Both have to. Pretty much what Krishna is coming to in these verses is body, words, mind, intelligence, everything. Gross body, subtle body is used in the service of the Lord. That's what is coming, he's explaining. That is what bhakti means, utilizing everything in the service of the Lord. So Smarana and Maranatmika Bhakti. This is that. So in these first three verses, Lord Krishna is explaining there are two categories. One is the internal Bhakti, Antaranga Bhakti, then the Bahiranga Bhakti. Antaranga Bhakti is using the Smarana and Manana, using mind and intelligence. He has come to spontaneous devotion. And The next category is also abhyas. Then the second, this verse is telling, if you are not in the spontaneous devotion, the mind intelligent, then you have to practice. That is called Vaidi sadhana bhakti. Ata chittam samadhatum na siknosi. Na means you are not able to come to spontaneous devotion, you are not able to remember, think of Lord immediately. Then na siknosi means abhyas. Abhyasa yogena tato. Abhyasa means practice. We must practice Vaidi sadhana bhakti. So that means every day waking up early in the morning, chanting the holy names of the Lord, picking of the flowers, cooking for the Lord, and worshipping the deity. And so all this process, dancing in front of the Lord. So all this process, Prabhupada is explaining. Mam Ichaptum Dhananjaya. So the first one is spontaneous devotion, next one is regulative principles of devotion. Vaidi, sadhana, bhakti. Second level. Both are still under the 8 and 9 are coming under this first level, Antaranga Bhakti. Smarana and Manana has been, and Abhyas. Smarana, Manana, Abhyas. Abhyas is practice. Smarana, Manana is more of spontaneous devotion, mind intelligence. This is the first category. And then if that is not there, the next one is the external. So then you work for Krishna. Then it's all that is coming under the external. One who is not. And then the next category, this is the first and the second category, two categories, and then subcategories I mentioned, Smarana, Marana, and Abhyas. These are the subcategories in the first one, internal. And the external one is also there. And then if that is not possible, then coming to first six chapters is inferior, the Nishkam Karma. In this verse also, 12th verse is talking about the lowest. Out of all these, the first one is the topmost, spontaneous devotion. If you cannot do that, then you engage in Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, practice out in. If you cannot do that, then you work for Krishna uh, indirectly. That means either you give the money, or you do the carpentry, you do the flooring, or you do the something or the other. For devotional activity, you are helping temple, you are helping devotees in some of the favorable activities to spread or establish in the temple in somehow or the other, in one way or the other, directly or indirectly. So that is working for Krishna. If that is not possible, then Krishna all choice Krishna is giving in this chapter, 12th chapter. If that is not possible, then you don't be attached to results. Sometimes it is not possible. Family doesn't allow. Then you cannot come to temple, you can't practice, you can't chant, you can't do anything. Then what will you do? Krishna, okay, all right. In that situation, don't be attached to results. You think that these results belong to Krishna. Don't be attached to what comes, whatever comes. Accept it as Krishna's mercy. Don't be attached to the results. If we cannot do that, then further Krishna is going. How many levels is going? Then the last 12th verse is telling Nishkam Karma. Sreyan, what is that? He's telling meditation. Reading the Shastra, if you cannot read, then you meditate. So that's what he's saying, that Nishkam Karma Yoga. That don't be attached to that is Nishkam Karma Yoga. And then further, if somebody cannot do that also, then you read, you meditate. So that is with that. So the category of bhakti, Krishna is explaining that way. But 8th, 9th, these verses are very prominent, a very important point. And Prabhupada is making a very important point. To practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, one should, under the guidance of expert spiritual master, follow certain principles. One should rise early in the morning. Because if his guidance are represented, they know exactly what is your condition, what is your position, where you are, and so what kind of, where your spark is, where your inclinations are. Accordingly, they can engage in right way, and so without creating great chaos or disturbance in the day-to-day current lifestyle. And so that's why they need the training and expert guidance. Expert spiritual master follows certain principles. One should rise early in the morning, take bath, enter the temple, offer prayers, chant Hare Krishna, then collect flowers to offer to the deity, cook foodstuffs to offer to the deity, take prasad and so on. These are various rules and regulations which one should follow. Then is an important point. Sravana leads to Smarana. As in Nectar of Instruction, verse number 8, Krishna is explained that Bhagavad Gita, one should read Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, in another place it is Chaitanya Charitamrita also. One should constantly hear Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam from pure devotees. Then we have to quote a verse. Multiple verses are there. In 1836, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Kunti Maharani's prayers, verse number 36, Kunti Maharani is mentioning that. शृण्वन्ति स्मरन्ति गायन्ति अभीक्ष्णसा स्मरन्ति नन्दन्ति तवेहितं जना Achrena tavakam pasyanti bhava pravaha paramam padam bojam srunvanti gayanti avikshna smaranti srunvanti gayanti nandanti avikshna sa. Srunvanti chanting and hearing continuously avikshna sa. Grananti taking in the heart. Continuously one is doing means is taking in the heart. Srunvanti gayanti avikshna nandanti avikshna sa. And then acharena tavakum pasyanti acharena tavakum smaranti nandanti tavehitam jana srunvanti gayanti abhikshana nandanti abhikshana sa and smaranti. So nandanti abhikshana sa. Then the third line is acharena tavakum pasyanti. One will see the Lord face to face very quickly. Acharena tavakum pasyanti, because he is constantly absorbed in hearing, chanting, remembering. Because of that, continuously, constantly, continue every day, is doing regularly. So much attached to hearing, always. So, and then he's telling Bhava Pravaha Uparamam Padam Bhojam, because he's attached to my lotus feet. So, there clearly Prabhupada is explaining, writing in the purport elaborately. All other limbs will only work if there is enough sufficient hearing of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavad. All other limbs, deity worship, the chanting, service, because then you'll know. If you are sufficiently hearing, then you know what is your position, where your anarthas, where your mind is going, where you are doing wrong, what you are lacking. Everything you get to know. If you don't hear, then you will not know. You think I'm doing everything right, perfect. I'm perfect. I don't need to correct anything. I don't need to fix anything, and will be at the same position. Will not change much. After repeated hearing, then some some inclination will come in the heart, and then slowly will change the lifestyle. And we'll act upon it. But if you don't hear at all, then not much changes. Life will go on, and we'll come to the fag end of life. Then it's too late at that point of time. So that's why the hearing is stressed pretty much. Here also it is mentioned. One should constantly hear Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam from Purya. This practice can help anyone. Anyone. That means we could be however simple. We could be from any background. Dog eater, snake eater, whatever may be. Could be from any background. Doesn't matter. What past is, it doesn't matter. What we do now and future matters. So this practice can help anyone rise to the level of love of God. Then he is sure of his progress into the spiritual kingdom of God. This practice of Bhakti Yoga under the rules and regulations with the direction of a spiritual master will surely bring one to the stage of love of God. So even though he's in this verse he's talking about Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Whatever we are following is called practice. We don't have spontaneous devotion. Otherwise tears will flow and hair will stand and we'll be constantly 24 by 7 will thinking of the Lord. That's not the case with us. So we are not in spontaneous. So we are in this verse. A practice of devotion service. Vaidhi with the rules and regulations, trying to practice the chanting, the hearing, the coming to temple, taking darshan of the Lord, seeing the arati, offering something. So all that, directly or indirectly. If you are pujari, you do directly. If you are not pujari, you do indirectly. If you bring something or you see the arati, you take the arati, all that. You offer money, whatever. So all these things are indirect. You will get the same result as well. So all this process is explained here. But now how will we come to that? This Smarana and Manana is important question. And Lord Krishna explains in Srimad Bhagavatam 11:29, beautiful verses. As Uddhava is asking, the same Uddhava Gita this is. There also Lord Krishna explained the Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga. He said, no, it is so difficult. How I cannot follow this. Uddhava also said the same thing as Arjuna said. It's so difficult to do this. Then Lord Krishna said, so the first thing you have to do is you have to follow my devotees. This is also there. That's why one wants to surrender to Krishna. Krishna is saying throughout Bhagavad Gita, you must surrender. You have to think of me, become my devotee, worship me. So, and offer obeisance to these four things Krishna is telling them. That means he's telling surrender. So how can you surrender? Prabhupada is explaining in the sixth canto, and Mother Parvati cursed Chitraketu Maharaj He was going in the aeroplane. He saw Parvati Devi sitting on the lap of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is speaking to assembly of devotees. Lord Shiva is speaking Bhagavad Gita. Then he saw that how come the assembly of devotees, how can you keep your wife on your lap and speak? This is not appropriate. Obviously, because Lord Shiva can do anything. The Mahabhagavat can do anything. So because he's not operating on the material platform, so for him he can do. If you imitate, then because he can drink poison. If you imitate, you think Lord Shiva has done this thing. If you imitate them, so you will fall down immediately. So his position is different. So this example, Rudrasura see the Chitraketu saw, and then he laughed. And then how is then immediately Lord Shiva didn't take, obviously, because he's pure devotee, he's Vaishnava, Athasanko. He knows also, his position also he knows. So that's why he didn't say anything. He was quiet. But Parvati Devi took an offense because how can you laugh at my husband? Such a great devotee of the Lord. Then she cursed. There Prabhupada writes wonderful purport, very important point that this surrender only. If one wants to surrender, first he has to surrender to his devotee because he saw Lord Shiva's position as a, he is not, he didn't recognize, he didn't surrender. Then, so that's why Prabhupada is making that point, very important point, because this Ragam of Bhakti, one cannot come without the surrender, 6, 17, 15. So, quoting this famous verse. This divine energy of mind consisting of three modes of material nature is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross over. So what is your surrender mean? To surrender to Krishna means to surrender to his devotee also. For no one can be a proper servant of Krishna unless he is a proper servant of a devotee. That is especially spiritual master, Sri Prabhupada, previous acharyas, and then representatives. Chadiya Narottam Das Thakur famous statement. Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Paiche Deva. Without serving a servant of Krishna, one cannot be elevated to being a servant of Krishna himself. So that is the thing. In general, we see that, right? If you want to become you want to become close of a servant of SVP, VP, president, prime minister, even big people. They have no idea who we are. We are so at the lowest position. How will we come close? We have to do something significant, and we approach through one of his associate, secretary or servant, or whoever. Then gradually we can come, they recognize. That is how the process is. Here also same thing. Because they are the pure, the Lord is sending. The Lord's expansion. Lord is telling again and again that Acharya Mam Vijani Na Avamanyeta Karechit. They are not different from me. He's telling Uddhava only. Spiritual master is not different from me because internally the Chaitya Guru coming as externally as spiritual master. His expansion as Shastra, his expansion as spiritual master, bona fide, not any Guru in this material world, so called Guru, no. Bona fide spiritual master, pure devotee of the Lord who is Nitya Siddha Bhakta coming from spiritual world. We are talking about that person, spiritual master, and he is also expansion as Archa Vigraha. In these three ways, as a spiritual master, as a Archa Vigraha, as a super soul, is there. Lord is expanding himself to deliver conditioned soul. That's why he's expanding. Otherwise, he doesn't need to. For that purpose only, to bring us back home, back to Godhead. So that's why in this particular purport, clearly written that. So that's why we need to surrender to the Lord because we can't touch him, we can't feel. I told many times example. This whole Lord Krishna's Uddhava Gita, which I'm going to discuss now, how we can come to this Manana and Manana stage, Raganuga Bhakti, where Lord Krishna is, but we can correlate that with our, if you are going to, we want to become happy, we go to vacation, or we go to different places, we want to drink something, we want to eat something. Means we are we are trying to become happy. That's why somebody wants to go to vacation. Somebody he wants to release something. He wants to see do different things, not the same thing what he does today. Mhm. So that means he has to feel that pleasure through these different avenues, different methods. So here also we see that smarana and manana means because right now the smarana and manana is on these objects. What we think we will get pleasure as we go to different places. Now that has to be dovetailed to Krishna. That Krishna is going to explain how by dovetailing that now that aspect, that mentality, that anxiety, that consciousness will change to Krishna. It will be diverted to Krishna. We'll be talking about the holy places. We'll be talking about the pure devotees. We'll be talking about the festivals. Exactly right time. This Gaur Purnima is coming up tomorrow, Sunday. So it talks about all these things step by step. It talks about how to see every living entity, offering respects. So all these things systematically, Krishna talks about how to come to this smaranatmika and maranatmika spontaneous devotion gradually. So let's read this particular line. Therefore, one cannot be elevated to being a servant of Krishna himself. Therefore, Mother Parvati spoke to Chitraketu exactly like a mother who says to her naughty child, "My dear child, I am punishing you so that you won't do anything like this again." This tendency of a mother to punish her child is found even in the mother Yashoda, who became the mother of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mother Yashoda punished Krishna by binding him and showing him a stick. This is the duty of the mother to chastise her beloved son. So it's a clear statement. So that means sometimes Lord may, it is our own karma only. Lord is not giving anything which is we haven't done it. That we have to accept. Shastra is telling that. So karanam gunasangasa sad asad janma yonishu. Prakriti sto punkte prakriti jair gana. This is again and again Bhagavad Gita only. This is not even advanced topics. So that we cannot say that Lord is giving me, Lord is forcing me to suffer. No, it's actually our activities. But Lord will transform that. Suffering will happen, but He will also purify. He will decrease our karma as we take up devotion. So that's what will happen. Karma nirdhat kinchut bhakti vajam. All our bank balance also will go away, wipe out. That will be the advantage of serving Krishna. So He may punish, but that means we have to go through tests. We have to be very strong. We have to be resilient. We have to be tolerant. We have to accept this as a mercy of the Lord. The chastisement, the corrections, all these things we should accept. Most of the time, we cannot accept. We can't tolerate them. Imagine how we can progress. We can't progress. We cannot accept the authority, Shastra, and Guru's statements. Then that's why we are here in this material, because that is the first reason Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita. Icha and Dvesha, enviousness of the Lord and the separate desire from the Lord. These two things are caused us to be here. Icha Dvesha Samutvena Dvanda Mohena Bharata. That is the reason in 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita Krishna is telling. So that enviousness that is there, that enviousness has to be gradually given up. That also Krishna talks about it in this Uddhava Gita, which I am going to describe. All your enviousness, jealousy, anger, frustration, everything will be disappear. Everything will be purified if you follow the process which I am going to describe. But here, that's why Mother Parvati, out of love, out of compassion, end result is different. But the problem is generally we see immediate result. Right? Why did he chastise me? Why did he correct me? I haven't done anything wrong. But Shastra tells, if Guru says if it is chastisement, anything, even if you don't have fault, accept it. Accept it. Right? Today you haven't done any fault, but you have done the past. So that karma will come also. So you have to accept it. So that Shastra is telling again and again. So then only we can, that Mother Parvati, because Chitraketu Maharaj obviously is a great devotee, that he also accepted it. But if we are in the situation, we will not accept it. But the end result, see the end result, what will happen here. He went back to Godhead. Even though she cursed, seemingly it seems she was, she didn't accept him as a child. No, actually, she wants to give benefit. She wants to quicken the process to go back home, back to God. So that's what the curse of a Mother Parvati, or curse of a sage, or punishment of a great devotee is actually gives great blessing. No bona fide Acharya or the exalted personality, Mahabhagavat, will not want to punish anybody unless he is giving the great mercy to quicken the process to go back home, back to God. That is the only reason they will do, if at all they do. So that's what we see here also. The tendency of mother to punish the child is that we read, punished by Krishna by binding him and showing mercy. Thus, it is a duty of the mother to chastise her beloved son. Even in the case of Supreme Lord, it is to be understood that Mother Durga was justified in punishing Chitraketu. This punishment was a boon to Chitraketu because after taking birth as a demon, Vratrasura, he was promoted directly to Vaikuntha. Very quickly. Very quickly. Yeah, and also he also accepted like that because he favorably accepted. He didn't retaliate to Mother Parvati. He didn't retaliate to Lord Shiva. He was happily went back. He happily went back. He quoted verse also. So Narayan Parasara Kotasana Sabgapar Tulyardas. For me, it doesn't matter. I go to hell or heaven because I'm taken shelter to Lord Vishnu. So what problem I have? I have no fear. So okay, if I'm going to become a demon, no problem. So I will become a demon. So what is the problem? That's why he chastised Indra also. Indra couldn't do anything. Then he had to go back and beg. Then Narayan Astra. Then he got the limbs of the Aditya and then he killed. Even then also he couldn't kill. Rudrasura went back to Godhead already. After 1 year after he went back, then he could kill the dead body. That is the power of a devotee. That is the power of the demigod Karma Mishra Bhakta. Jnana Mishra Bhakta or Yoga Mishra Bhakta. So the pure devotee versus not pure devotee, that will be the difference. Even though he may be a demon, but Vrutrasura is not a ordinary. He was actually pure devotee. Little things, little offense to a Vaishnava like Lord Shiva has done, but that helped him to go back home, back to God. It's important principle to understand. So to serve a Vaishnava, to be under the guidance of a Vaishnava is a very important principle. Now going back to Lord Krishna's instruction in this particular two verses, Lord Krishna is telling Uddhava that the first thing one must do is visit the holy places, visit the holy places and serve his devotees, serve the Lord's devotees when you visit the holy places. Holy place doesn't mean that you only Mayapur, Dham, Vrindavan. Wherever the Lord's temples are there, wherever Lord's devotees are there, fully absorbed in serving Krishna, understanding Krishna, hearing about Krishna, glorifying Krishna, that is the holy place. You take shelter of those holy places and you serve those personalities and you hear from them, you serve them in their association. That's the first point Lord Krishna tells to Uddhava. Then he tells that serve them, you take their shelter, then also you celebrate the festivals. Next point, Lord Krishna is telling, you celebrate the festivals. Janmashtami, Radhashtami, Gaur Purnima, Nityananta Yodasi, Ramnavami is coming up in April. Almost pretty much every month there is a festival, or maybe once in 2 months, if not immediately. Most of the times, every month has pretty much one thing or the other, big festivals. So in those places, what we should do? Again, Krishna is telling that hearing, chanting, dancing for the pleasure. Keep me in the center. So that Krishna is telling. That is next is telling that. Then the next thing is telling that you see as a super soul. You see us as so you see me in every living, including in you as a Paramatma, and also all living entity. You should see me, super soul. You should see super soul in me. And then further, next is telling that you should not differentiate whether it's a Brahmana or Chandala. You should recognize that I am there even in the Chandala, even Brahmana, even ant, even elephant, wherever, all living entities, I am there. Recognize that. Then he is telling that offer respects, Dandavat Pranam, to cow, to dog. Then Prabhupada writing the purport in the next verse that we cannot do that. So what we should do, at least in the mind or through words, we should offer our respects. That means at least we should recognize. Then Lord Krishna further states, if one practice in this way, seeing me as a super soul in each and every living entity, gradually his enviousness, because generally is for his equals, is what do you call not Anasuya. There's a word used. So with his equals, he has some kind of because he is progressing more than even though he's at the same level, but somebody is progressing more than us, then we don't like it. We have that some tendencies there. And then the superiors, we have that enviousness. One is envious, one is jealousy. So all these unwanted characteristics are there. So by seeing me as super soul in each and every living entity, gradually all these unwanted qualities will disappear, will vanish. Mm. All the unwanted qualities, whatever we have in the heart, gradually vanish. So in this way, gradual process is Krishna is giving systematically how one should do. But everywhere, this is always it should be in the association of devotee. This can help to see. Otherwise, we can't see super soul. Then there is also mentioned, even the lower equals is talking about superior is also talking about lower than us, means juniors. We cannot ridicule. That ridiculement also, that nature also will tendency will go. We all have these tendencies. We are not perfect. Every one of us has these shortcomings. Everyone has this tendencies. So a smaller degree or higher degree, at some degree it is there. So that's why we have anxieties and suffering, anger, and all these things are there. So these has to be purified by following the process. Lord is describing this. Then we come to this Maranatmika and Maranatmika. Because Uddhava is asking, how my mind, yoga process is not possible for me. You tell me something, the process of bhakti, that by which I can absorb my mind or intelligence, mind and intelligence. You can be sharpened and I can think of you 24 hours. How is it possible? So please tell me the process. Then Lord is describing in this beautiful process, and then we'll also look at from Chaitanya Charitamrita also. Beautiful verses are there. And there I written down the shorter version of it. Oops, where did it go? Yeah, this one. Looks like I had opened around one or what. Yeah. Yeah, first point I want to tell is one must take shelter. Why should I take shelter? Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami himself is submitting to six Goswamis. We should sincerely pray to Guru, Prabhupada, and Rupa Goswami. Rupa and Sana, six Goswamis. Because while writing, Chaitanya Charitamrita is writing, I pray to the lotus feet of six Goswamis. Why? If one wants to benefit the entire world, there will be so many personalities who are going to object you, put a impediment on you. They want to check you, they want to bring you down. Then what you have to do? But if a devotee seeks shelter at the lotus feet of six Goswami, the merciful Goswami will certainly give the Lord servitor all protection. It is not astonishing that impediments are placed before those who are spreading the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. Nevertheless, if we adhere to the lotus feet of six Goswamis and pray for their mercy, all the impediments will be annihilated and the transcendental desire to serve the Supreme Lord will be fulfilled. So that's why we pray. That's why we pray. Then you can cook properly. Everything will come out nice on their mercy. Dressing, cooking, everything. Whatever we do, every activity of devotional service can come out properly if we take their mercy, if we take their shelter. Yeah. Yeah, here we go. So the first verse, 11:29, ninth. All of one's love and affection should be devoted to pleasing the Supreme Person. It is not indicated here that one should try to release self-satisfaction. So while engaged in devotion, initially maybe, because we also want to get pleasure. I will come to temple, I want to do this, but I also want to get pleasure. It's not so much we want to give pleasure to the Lord or Guru, but we have the tendency. Initially it's fine, but gradually we have to realize because the process is to give pleasure to Krishna. Then we automatically will get pleasure without even our looking for it. That is the point. First point is being made. It is not so one should try to release self-satisfaction. One should try to release. It is not indicated here that one should try to release selfish satisfaction and devotion sorry, but rather one should be attracted to Lord's own satisfaction, which one achieves by faithfully executing the order of bona fide spiritual master. That is the first point. Coming in disciplic succession from Lord Krishna himself, attachment to one's own satisfaction, even within devotion service, is materialistic, whereas attachment to satisfaction of the Lord is a pure spiritual emotion. Then Krishna talks about it. One should take, how will you come? One should take shelter of the holy places where my saintly devotees reside. Then, and one should be guided by the exemplary activities of the devotees. Because you could be in Mayapur, you could be in Vrindavan, or you could be anywhere. But if you are not under the guidance, then there also could be problem. But Shastra instructing that you can be there only maximum 11 days in Holy Dham. Because then you will start finding faults about the monkey, finding faults with this, that one, this is dust, this person is not good, that person is not good, he's taking more money, whatever, so many things. We may complain about prasadam, we may complain so many hundreds of things we could go wrong. But if you are on the guidance, then we minimize those tendencies. We don't create negative things. We rather increase our positive credits. That's why under the guidance one must go. So that is the first point is made. Where my saintly devotees reside, and one should be guided by the exemplary activities of my devotees who appear among the demigod, demons, and human beings. Why? Demigods basically is talking about the sages. He's talking about devotees appearing in all these categories because Lord sends. The Lord's job. Lord wants to see everyone delivered, including demons, including the animals, including every human being. Everyone wants to be delivered. Everyone should be delivered. Should be allowed. Should be given a choice. Should be given a chance to go back home, back to God. So Devarshi Narada Muni is among the demigods. Devarshi Narada. Devarshi, that's why. Is a sage among the demigods. Who is the sage among the demons? Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj is appeared in the demon family. Hiranyakashipu's son. Then who is the human beings? Amarish Maharaj is a human being. Pandavas, human beings. So Prabhupada writes in the example there. We should be guided by these kind of devotees. So Prabhupada understood. So next point, Krishna is either alone or in public gatherings with singing, dancing, other exhibitions of royal opulence, one should arrange to celebrate the holy days, which is Gaur Purnima. Ceremonies on this Sunday. And festivals set aside specially for my worship. Krishna is telling this. Then gradually, it's not one day. You celebrate one festival, now I want to come up spontaneous. No, it's not. It's gradually. Will come. If we practice like this gradually for each festival, you take it seriously, this instruction, then will come. Naturally, it will come. How seriously we take, to that degree, we come. I started with first this service only. Janmashtami 2008, taking serving the volunteers for Janmashtami, preparing for festival. That is my first service and I can see that what the result has happened from that. So I never cooked before, but I can cook. I started cooking for 3,000, 4,000 people, making palav or different kinds of special rice. Who has taught? Only Krishna has taught. Guru has taught. Prabhupada has taught. He's giving the intelligence how to do, what to do, everything. So we just need to follow the process. This is the process. Krishna is telling that how one should do. Everything will be given. Whatever we need, Lord will give, provided we follow this process. Then next, Krishna is telling, with a pure heart, one should see me, the supreme soul, within all beings and also within oneself, to be both unblemished by anything material and also present everywhere because everybody, we ourselves didn't come from a pure background, so we have also unwanted background. So of course, then we can't expect that everybody else is going to be pure devotees, everybody else is going to speak nicely, and everything will be so nice and rosy. No, it's not the case. So, so then, if you see the super soul as in everybody, then that will gradually help. So more we hear in these things, and then more we will see super soul also present both externally and internally, just like the omnipresent sky. Then further, Krishna is telling, oh, brilliant Uddhava, one who thus views all living entities with the idea that I am present within each of them, who by taking shelter of this divine knowledge offer due respect to everyone, is considered actually wise. Such a man sees equally Brahmana, outcast, thief, charitable, Bhagavad Gita chapter 5, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, Brahmana, Gavihasana Sunche, Sapa, elephant, dog, is seeing equally because he's seeing super soul. Then next is telling, for him who constantly meditates upon my presence within all persons, the bad tendencies, this is the verse, the bad tendencies of rivalry on the same levels, equal, spardha, yeah, that is the term, is spardha. I have this car, oh, he has another car. How come? I'm at a higher level than him. In the office, he is my junior. How could he have a better car than me? So no, tomorrow I'm going to bring another better car than him. So this is what is called same level only, but we immediately has that tendency. So that's spardha. So that is rivalry. Then you have envy, superiors. He is my superior, but he is not intelligent. He's only he did bachelor's or he failed multiple times. But how could he progress? How could we go up higher than me? So I should be upper than him. So this tendency will be that is enviousness, and then lower level juniors, abusiveness, and derogatory. So along with false ego are very quickly destroyed. Very quickly when we start constantly seeing the Lord in everyone, a super soul. By before, first process, it is not some directly you pick up this verse and you'll come to that. No, it cannot happen. You follow the first steps of taking taking shelter of the holy places, taking shelter of the devotees as well as spiritual master acharya, advanced devotees, and then worshiping, doing the festivals, doing services on those days, chanting, dancing more so on these days. That means remember Sunday. If you are waking up at a later time, please try to wake up 2:30, 3:30, 4:30, like that, something better than usual days, because that is where the potency is there. We should utilize it. We don't know when what's going to happen. There is no, it is not Parikshit Maharaj, 7 days at least he has been given. For us, there is no guarantee for anybody. So that's why we should take these days especially. Then the special protections, special blessings will be given. So we should take the advantage. At least do something better than what we haven't done before. Wake up early and try to chant, try to do something. So that will become great credit for us. We should not lose that credit. So then naturally this will happen. We'll see the super soul will not be rivalry or envious or derogatory. All these things will not happen. But it takes time. By the degree we follow those above steps carefully, gradually, systematically, under the guidance, then it will happen. This thing will happen. Krishna is telling me it is going to happen for sure. So what Krishna says is the absolute truth. For him who constantly meditate, yeah, then all this. Then further, disregarding the ridicules of one's companions, one should give up the bodily conception and its accompanying embarrassment. One should offer obeisance before all, even dogs, outcasts, cows, asses, falling flat upon the ground like a rod. Of course, this cannot, this is not possible unless we are Mahabhagavat. That's why in the 17th verse, purport Prabhupada is writing. You cannot do that, but use your mind and words. That's what in these verses Krishna is telling pretty much. कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभाव सकलम ये परस्मय नारायणाय समर्पणम. Like that. The different verses there in Srimad Bhagavatam. This verse is from at the end of Vishnu Sahasram. This verse is there. Basically telling the body and words, body, mind, speech, words. These three things used in the service of the Lord and Lord's devotees. So that is what is describing. That's what we do also. As I was telling. When we go to everybody wants to be happy. So that happiness you go through either through eating or through going out somewhere. Utilize these senses. What do you use? Use your body. Use your mind. Use your words in going in trying to get happiness, enjoying. Why do you watch TV? Why do you go to a restaurant? For enjoyment or happiness only. Those tendencies you utilize the same body, mind, and words. You utilize that, dovetail that in the service of the Lord slowly, gradually. Naturally, other things will stop. These things will increase. Naturally, you will have no more taste to any of those things. Right now, it is not the case because that's what we have been cultured for many lifetimes. Now, as we move into this, then gradually that will happen too. For everybody, it can happen. There is no exception that it cannot happen to because he's coming from different background. No, it can happen to anybody. We have to take it up. But until one has developed the ability to see me within all living beings, one must continue to worship me by this process with the activities of his speech, mind, body. This is the verse I was telling. 17th verse. He's talking about all these three things. By such transcendental knowledge of all pervading personality of Godhead, one is able to see the absolute truth everywhere. Freed thus from all doubts, one gives up fruitive activities. So naturally, everything will happen successfully. And then finally, he's concluding. Indeed, I consider this process using one's mind, words, bodily functions for realizing me within all living beings to be the best possible method of spiritual enlightenment. This is Lord Krishna speaking to Uddhava. So that means, of course, then whatever Lord says is the highest. So he's telling this is the best possible method. So it is easy. Everybody wants to go to holy places. Do you not want to go to Jagannath Puri? Do you not want to go to Tirupati? Do you not want to go to Vrindavan? No, every one of us want to go. So, but we go under the guidance of devotees. We go in the association of devotees. And the same thing here. We go to Sri Radha Syam Sundar Mandir, Central New Jersey, and we dance, we chant, we take feast, and we serve together. And It's the same thing, same effect. Prabhupada brought Vrindavan consciousness all over the world, established these temples for this purpose only. Because Lord Krishna is telling this festival has to be celebrated because I will be in the center. Then gradually you want to anyway go out somewhere and dance or have a party or a picnic or whatever. So the same picnic is happening here. What are we doing? Same thing. We are doing picnic for the Lord. There we are doing picnic for ourselves. There we are doing instead, we are doing picnic for the Lord. So that's all. That is the only difference. Then who's going, Lord is going to eat everything? No, Lord is going to give back all those things. So many items on festival days. You can't finish. You have to keep for the next days to finish those many items. So that is the way we are dovetailing, and then it simply become blissful. Initially, maybe and I have to have so many things, family obligation and office work. I have to come to temple for this festival. It becomes burden. We see like that. But if you start working towards that, then everything will be so blissful and happy. Then you feel like every day, why should I do only once a month? Every day it should be like this. We'll come to that. So in that way, so we can see that this process of eighth, ninth verse Krishna is telling here. Smaranatmika, Maranatmika, and Abhyasa Rupa. Eighth verse is talking about Manana and Smarana, Buddhi and mind. The ninth verse is talking about Abhyasa Rupa, not spontaneous. Why this sadhana bhakti? Abhyas means practice. We have to practice. So by these three things, this is internal culture, antakarana. And the Rasikaranjana Bhaktivinoda Thakur saying is antakarana. But you are cultivating our internal mood, internal consciousness, purifying our internal consciousness. Then naturally will come to spontaneous devotion by this process. So same thing is explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita in 25th chapter of Madhya Lila, that if one wants to understand, attain, or see the essence, feel the nectar of the Lord Krishna, then one must first release the nectar of the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Then that's how it starts. This is in the 25th chapter. Beautiful chapter, beautiful verses. So this is the essence of what we are reading now. So here. The whoever hears Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime with faith and love very soon attains shelter at the Lord's lotus feet. And that is the essence of these verses, whatever we discussed so far. This is the cake and the icing. I have thus given a summary of description of Madhya Lila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu travels to find Jagannath Puri. Indeed, the Lord traveled to and fro continuously for 6 years. So this is now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming back from Varanasi, delivered the Mayavadi sannyasis, became great Vaishnavas. Now he's coming back to he's entering into Jagannath Puri, and all the devotees are there. So many devotees. Now that is being described here. Uh, this is the verse. Reading the correct one. Something. Something has happened here. Something. I went to lost. Ram, 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 yeah, here. I should start here. 269. I went to right. All devotees should hear about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime with faith and love. By the grace of the Lord, one can thus attain the shelter at his lotus feet. By understanding the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one can understand the truth about Krishna. Because that's what Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, what we read, is about Krishna. Now, how will we do? By understanding pastimes of Sri Chaitanya. By understanding Krishna, one can understand the limit of all knowledge described in various revealed scriptures. But the pastimes of Lord Krishna are the essence of all nectar. Because we have to come to Smaranatmika, Maranatmika, Sravanatmika. So by hearing, the pastimes of Lord Krishna are the essence of all nectar, and that nectar is flowing in hundreds of rivers in all directions. The pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are an eternal reservoir, and one is advised to let his mind swim like a swan on this transcendental lake. This is Prabhupada is explaining here. So, by under the guidance of Narottam Das Tagore, so because and six Goswamis, they described Radha and Krishna's pastimes. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not different. Radha, Krishna, Ahi, Anya. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not different. They are combined form Radha and Krishna. So that is being described here. Prabhupada is quoting Narottam Das Tagore. भक्त गण सुना मोर धन्य वचना तोमा सभार पद धूलि अंगे विभूषण करी किचु मोनि करो निवेदन so bhakta pada duli bhakta bhukta avashesh three things when you go to the holy place when you are in the association you take the dust of the lotus feet of pure devotee at least you get the mahaprasad remnants of the mahaprasad because lord and lord's pure it is offered always whenever we offer to the lord then first it goes to Guru Parampara, six Goswamis, so Prabhupada, my spiritual master, then it comes out. Prasad, it's already Maha Prasad, already. So, if Guru is there, he takes and then comes out as Maha Prasad. So, that's what it is. With all humility, I submit myself to the lotus feet of all of your devotees, taking the dust from your lotus feet as my bodily ornaments. Now, my dear devotees, please hear one thing from me. Lord is describing this. Lord is describing. कृष्ण भक्ति सिद्धांत गण याते प्रफुल्ल पद्मवना तार मधु करी आस्वादना प्रेम रस कुमुदे वने प्रफुल्ल रात्रि दिने ताते चराओ मनो भृंग गण how will we become manatmika sarma devotion service to Krishna is exactly like pleasing jubilant forest of lotus flowers is compared with lotus flowers we are like bees lotus birds all that wherein there is a simple, there is ample honey. I request everyone to taste this honey. If at all, if all the mental speculators bring the bees of their minds into this forest of lotus flowers and jubilantly enjoy the ecstatic love of Krishna day and night, their mental speculation will be completely transcendentally satisfied. So that's why you see that Sukadeva Goswami Brahmavadi became pure devotee. As soon as he heard the two verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, that's it. He was attracted. He ran behind those disciples. Then they brought him to Vyasdev. Vyasdev spoke the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. Then he converted. So four Kumaras also the same thing. They smelled Tulsi Manjari's leaves smell. That's it. They went through nostrils. They completely, their bodily transformed from Brahmavadi became pure devotees. So like that, there are so many examples. The devotees who have relationship with Krishna are like the swans, Chakravaka birds, who play in the forest of lotus flowers. The birds of those lotus flowers are the pastimes of Krishna. They are edibles for the swan-like devotees. Lord Sri Krishna is always engaged in a transcendental pastime. Therefore, the devotees following the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can always eat those lotus birds, for they are the pastimes of the Lord. And in reality also we use the lotus. Everything about lotus we use. Lotus flowers we use. Lotus buds we use. Lotus seeds we use on Ekadasi day. Prabhupada's favorite, one of the favorite is lotus seeds. Phool makhani. We make sabji also, but that phool makhani. You roast it in ghee and Prabhupada asking about it in Kumbh Mela in Prayag. And then immediately in few minutes somebody comes, opens his bag and gives that to Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada takes it. Just see. Prabhupada said. You just talked about, mentioned it, and it came right away. So that's also because so lotus stem also we use. We get lotus root. That also we make sabji. So everything about lotus in demigod spiritual in one place it is written. Demigods eat regularly this about the lotus everything. So that's why they become more beautiful. One who eats the lotus, they become even more beautiful. Their bodies become even more beautiful. That's what Prabhupada writes in one of the purport in Srimad Bhagavatam. See सरोवरे गिया हंस चक्रवाक हना सदा ताहान करह विलास कांदीबे सकल दुख पैवा परम सुख anayase have premolas. All the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should go to that lake and remaining always under the shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Become swans and Chakravaka birds in those celestial waters. They should go on rendering service to Lord Sri Krishna and enjoy life perpetually. In this way, all miseries will be diminished. The devotees will attain great happiness. There will be jubilant love of God. So many examples throughout Chaitanya Charitamrita. Pradyumna Mishra, he was in Grahastha, he was suffering, he was a Brahmana. Then he was thinking, what should I do? How can I transform my life? I was in so much anxiety and suffering. Then he came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you go and meet my great devotee Ramananda Roy. Then Ramananda started speaking the glories of the Supreme Lord. Then a few days he heard, that's it. He was completely, actually, he was transformed. Then he came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and said, then what have you given me? It's completely amazing, so much transformative. So he offered his obeisances, he was completely in tears because Ramananda Rai is such a devotee. Moments of association with such a devotee, he can transform anybody and everybody. So that's why these descriptions are there. Like that, so many examples are there throughout Chaitanya Charitamrita. The devotees who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu take the responsibility for distributing nectarian devotion service all over the world. They are like clouds pouring water on the ground that nourishes the fruit of love of Godhead in this world. Every day we sing first song, first verse, first line. Samsara dava nalanida loka tranaya karana gana ganatam. That is the exact line here. The clouds pouring water. That's what devotees do. That's what the Lord does, distributing the love. So the devotees eat the fruit to their heart's content, and whatever remnant they leave are eaten by the general populace. Thus, they live happily. So that's what Mahaprasadam, any temple it comes, always, even if a different sampradaya also, Ramana sampradaya, and of course, of the Lord takes, then it is offered to Garuda, offered to Hanuman, and the different servants of the Lord, then it comes out. If you haven't seen, they take the ring the bell and take sometimes in front of us only. They have some rice or different items. They go to different place throughout the temple and offer, ring the bell after the Lord, it is done, or sometimes it is at the same little slight 10-15 minute difference maybe there. That's all offering to the Lord's servant. Then it comes for rest of the distribution. It's everywhere. In all these four bona fide samples, same process is there. It doesn't come out until Lord's next level, Lord's devotees take, then only it comes out. So that is the process. And that's why it is the distribution of the clouds pouring water. So they live happily. चैतन्य लीला अमृत पुरा कृष्ण लीला सुकर पारा दुहे मिली हया सुमाधुर्य साधु गुरु प्रसादे ताह यही आस्वीदे सेई जन माधुर्य प्राचुर्य. That's why Devaki Nandan Das written as a beautiful song. Tomorrow morning we'll sing that song. It's going one by one. Vrindavan Vasis to Navdev Vasis to Jagannath Puri Vasis to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Gaura Gana Bhakta Vasis. Is begging one by one, list by list. Is begging all the Vaishnava from different places, holy places. Beautiful song is describing. The pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are full of nectar, and the pastimes of Lord Krishna are like camphor. When one mixes these, and camphor we use in the eating camphor, we use in pretty much in everything, in making the kheer, different sweets. In the laddu, Tirupati laddu, this camphor is there, eating camphor, not the other camphor, which is for arati. No, that's not the. This is eating camphor. In laddus, in sweets, they use in drinks, nectar. When they make, they use sometimes even the panakam. They use even the sandalwood paste. Also, we use eating camphor. Which one mixes? When one mixes these, they taste very sweet. By the mercy of the pure devotees, whoever tastes them can understand the depths of that sweetness. So if you have tasted 20 years ago the Tirupati Laddu, then you understand what is that sweetness is. Balaji Govinda's Prasad. So very special. Laddu used to be this much big, and ghee smell, camphor smell, elaichi smell, all smells and prasad taste. And one you eat, that's it all day. You don't need to eat anything else. So nectar and so sweet and so filling. Of course, the Lord has tasted. So that's how it used to be. The quality, consciousness, everything. Now, it's not to that level. So Laddu, the size also, of course, reduced. But still, it's amazing. That's how it used to be in Tirupati. Men become strong and stout by eating sufficient grains, but the devotee who simply eats ordinary grains but does not taste the transcendental pastime Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna gradually became weak and falls down from the transcendental position. However, if one drinks but a drop of nectar of Krishna's pastime, his body, mind begin to bloom and he begins to laugh, sing and dance. So that's what it is. Today's verse we are talking about how to utilize our body, mind, and words and senses. The same thing. So we just need to drink that nectar, drink the Kool-Aid, they say. So we have to drink the Kool-Aid of what is offered to Krishna. And this Sunday we are going to offer so many drinks, okay, sugar juice, so many juices we are going to offer, coconut water, fresh coconut, so many things we are going to offer. And then, of course, devotee will release after that, after Lord tastes. So that is what it is. So we will get, of course, Lord is giving everything back to us. But that is then we get also great pleasure and we get purified as well. The reader should relish this wonderful nectar because nothing compares to it. Keeping their faith firmly fixed within their mind, they should be careful not to fall into the pit of false arguments or the whirlpools of unfortunate situations. If one falls into such situation, he is finished. He's telling basically, Agartha Kalam, don't waste time in discussing politics and sociology and who has done what, and this devotee has done that devotee has done that, is like that, is like this. And don't discuss all those things. It's better not to discuss, not waste time in those things. In conclusion, I submit to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, and all other devotees and readers. I accept your lotus feet as the helmet on my head, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. In this way, all my purposes will be solved. And he's submitting to 6 Goswamis. Every chapter after chapter he's submitting. Taking the feet of Sri Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Jiva Goswami in my head. I always desire there must thus. I, Krishna Das, humbly try to describe the nectar of the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which are mixed with the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Because he instructed Varanasi devotees, great Mayavadis, he transformed all of them. Throughout Chaitanya Charitamrita, you will see that everyone is going to. So he went to Kurma Kshetra, he transformed the Kurma Brahman. He went to Udupi, he transformed the Madhva devotees. They were so much engrossed in philosophical understanding of the truths, not so much their devotion, too much stuck in philosophy. So, Tattvavadis, so the Mahaprabhu calls them. So, like that, in each and every place, he came to Sri Rangam, transformed Vallabh Bhatta and others. So, Gopal, his son, became great devotee, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, now 6 Goswamis. So, he went to the Madurai, there, these Bhattaharis, so called devotees, name externally, they have all the dress and everything, tilak and everything, but internally, they used to capture women and keep it in their. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu associated also attracted by that, and he went and joined them in the night without telling. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew. Next day morning, he pulled by the hair and brought him. That's why Shikha is there. So that Guru and Krishna will pull us back. So that's why Shikha is there for Pujari, for devotees. Then he pulled back. So he transformed them also. In another place, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went into Buddhists. There he transformed them also. So the Buddhist leader tried to offend, tried to kill Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Rather, when he tried to put that, then one of the big bird came and took that whatever he has, he trying to throw and trying to, do something to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then that actually fell on him, and he was completely become unconscious. He died almost. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought him back to consciousness. They all became disciples. They all became devotees, including the leader, when he came to consciousness. So like that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went all over the world, all over the India, especially from Cape Comorin to from south to north to east to west, everywhere, pretty much. This Kurma is almost in Vijayanagaram, Visakhapatnam, all the way this end. All the way this end is Cape Comorin, Setubandha, where Lord Ramachandra went. So all pretty much every place Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went and transformed every person, whether Buddhists or whatever they are following, everyone has been given this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, chant and dance. Don't leave your family, be in the family. You just chant the holy names of Krishna, worship Krishna. So what is that? की सेने की भोजने की जागरणे अहर्निश चिंता बोलो कृष्ण. So while sleeping, while waking up, while eating, always chant the holy name of Krishna, worship Krishna, don't do anything else. Na bhave anni ara, Chaitanya Bhagavat. Don't do anything, don't talk about anything else. Just talk about Krishna, worship Krishna. That was the instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So throughout this Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, you see these pastimes, different devotees, different examples, pastimes, but more or less is about the same thing, bringing the conditioned souls into Krishna consciousness. We went to Ananta Padmanabha Swami temple also, Thiruvananthapuram. Then he brought this Krishna Karnamrita and Brahma Samhita books. He found one of the chapter only, not the whole thing. Then he also found where Lord Rama, where Mother Sita, real Sita was not taken actually. The Maya Sita was taken by Ravana. So when he took Agni Pariksha, actually Maya Sita was the one, was actually murdered. The real Sita came out. So Agni was keeping the real. So Maya Sita, actually Ravana didn't take the real Sita. Maya Sita. So because this Brahmana, whoever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meets, he was not cooking. He invited the Lord, he didn't cook. Why? He said that, so he was thinking so much morose, because how can Ravana take a demon, take another Sita? Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he saw this particular scripture, when he found, immediately brought him and showed him. Then he became very happy to hear that pastime. Then he cooked for the Lord and was so happy. Then he started relishing again back to the previous pastime of Lord Ramachandra. So in that way, it transformed pretty much everywhere throughout India, wherever Lord went. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pastimes are real nectar, giving us instruction how to conduct us, how to purify ourselves. So, any questions? With that, we'll stop already 8:40. Any questions? You're unmuted. If you have questions, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll conclude. Okay. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.